This is not your mother's Mahabharata. Beware. It's fucking epic. Hosted by SP Jayaraj.
Welcome everyone to Not Your Mother's Mahabharata. I am Satish, and with me as always is my wife, Azure Anderson.
Hello there. Hi.
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 It's been we don't often do this during the day.
I know it's gonna be strange. So
Yeah.
it's sunny out. We've been up for a few hours.
Mm-hmm. At least a few hours. Yeah.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah. With us today is our good friend Didi Koka.
Woo!
Hello.
Hi, Didi.
Hi.
I am excited to have you for, let's be honest here, take 2.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we tried before quite a while ago now.
It's been a while.
It feels like almost a year ago.
Yeah.
It was.
It was
more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because we hadn't moved into this house yet, and we were just getting started. We had sound issues. It didn't take the episode we recorded. And so since then, we've no, we have to do this again, because we had such fun during the episode,
we
too.
did. Hopefully I'll be just as wise.
You'll be wiser.
Yeah.
It's been more than a year.
Yeah.
More unwise.
I hope so. I hope we've all lost
some wisdom.
in our age.
That's how it's meant to work.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have you here for this take 2. We are covering a different part of the story now, and so in some sense, like what we did before, even if you don't remember, doesn't have as much relevance right now.
Right.
But first off, tell us about yourself, Didi.
Well, I, Didi Koka, and I am, my day job is a family physician. And my night job.
What is the night job? Not that the day job's not important. The day job is very important to a lot of people.
Well, I'm a poet, and I actually think I express myself creatively in a lot of different ways, you know. So I do dance and poetry, and I do drumming, and sing. Sing. But none of it in any sort of professional aspect, just all very avocationally, but sometimes intense avocations. And I love a good story.
Yes.
So Satish has always gotten me with that. He's always got a good story.
I do like to have some lined up.
Story, yeah. And then for me, you know, some of this goes back. I heard some aspects of this, probably more in the, Bhagavad Gita and versions of this growing up, but nothing that I could ever think of retelling. And so there's a familiarity to some of the stories.
Okay.
But not at all of them.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Even I am probably absolutely will never get to all of them with the different iterations. Well, you've pseudo-answered then my question of your familiarity with the Mahabharata. What is your familiarity with Krishna?
Krishna, so my dad had his altar, and then he had the mobile altar that had a picture of Krishna with the blue face and and that I remember more than actually, I don't remember on his altar. It was just too many gods.
It was just definitely too many.
Too many gods. Just too many.
And some of them all the same
Same,
gods.
I know,
Yeah.
with different iterations. I'm like, what? I never got it. But he would carry certain ones in his wallet when we were traveling,
really?
and then
Okay.
make makeshift little altars. And so there was one for Krishna. I very much remember. And then because my parents were different religions, I think that they used Krishna as the bridge, as the bridge person. So
Sure.
So, and I don't know how accurate it is, but there was this idea of like Krishna and Son of God and Christianity, Krishna. And I don't know. They seem to have a way of understanding how this was the similarities of religions and.
First thing I want to mention, like, so your dad was from Tamil Nadu?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your dad's from Tamil Nadu. I'm really happy to have you for this episode because we're going to be covering more of Krishna's story.
Oh, great.
And we've done a couple. We got to a point when doing the Mahabharata when Krishna, like, really enters the story. He's kind of been on the sidelines a little bit. And then we left so that was the end of season 1. And I think, like, in the interim, let's catch people up with who Krishna is.
Okay.
So we've been doing the Krishna Chronicles. So just stories.
I love that.
Yeah. I love my alliterations. I always love my alliterations. So that's covered the birth of Krishna, and it'll be until the point where we've reached in the Mahabharata. So let's give you a little brief recap of like the things we've kind of figured out about Krishna. I feel like I want to tell you more now because you have a little familiarity. There is, like we covered in some of our discussions, like the similarities between him and Jesus, and how the two have, like, in some they've had their stories kind of. It makes sense to see that connection between the two of them. Krishna's stories apparently really started to come together after the Mahabharata, so thousands of years later, and then kind of got folded into it. And so I think we'll even see a little of today how there's even some similarities in, like, Greek mythology and the stories of Krishna.
Oh, cool.
So, and we've touched upon a couple of his things as well already. But that's something that does, for me, has come up, like, as an Indian, grown-up Hindu, but in different countries, and where there has been Christianity, how I see that those connections are definitely they make sense to me. One thing I do want to point out, just because I love to, is that Krishna means the dark one. So one thing I'll mention is that although which is why we're mentioning. But so apparently, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the reason he's blue is that he's portrayed as blue, because if they portrayed him as dark as he was, you couldn't see anything. But he's apparently super dark-skinned. There is one story that we covered where he deals with a snake, and in dealing with that snake in the river that was blocking the Yamuna, there's some rendition of that story where the interaction of that and the poison leads to him becoming blue. But I'm going to call
that was just his throat was blue.
That was Shiva.
Oh, Shiva. My apologies.
Shiva, same thing. Also with
My
a snake.
apologies.
Also absorbed and it became blue.
Okay, so I'm not so far off.
No, not at all.
No,
There's so
that's
many
good.
things
Love the
that
idea
kind
of
of
the
come.
snake too.
Yeah.
Because that comes up in other religions too, right? So
It
I
does.
love this idea of the snake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've told some great snake stories. It's fantastic. As someone who has, like, a fear of snakes, I tell people I wrote a whole novel on dragons to get over my fear of snakes, and the novel is fantastic. I'm not over my fear of snakes.
Don't worry, you have our cat to protect you.
Yeah.
Mouse loves hunting snakes.
Oh, that's cool.
It's his
Yeah.
favorite
When we
pastime
would-
if you were to allow him to do
When
it.
we would take him for walks around our, like, little house in Cedar Rapids, he would just find the snakes.
That is really cool.
It's
Yeah, and he,
strange
like,
little guy.
looks for them now, I think.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
the toys that have, like, a tail?
Oh, yeah.
are
He's
the ones
into
he
it.
goes for.
Maybe you've like conjured that up in Miles, you know,
I think
because
you,
of your
yeah,
fear.
you've
But
conjured
I never
up
asked
the protector.
Mouse. There was one time we woke up
Oh, God.
and went out. Like, so our bedroom was, like, right by the door, the entrance. So we left our bedroom, and right coming into the entrance, in a perfectly shaped S, was a dead snake.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was Miles?
It was
Mouse.
Mouse?
Mouse. Our cat Mouse.
So
Okay.
it was, like,
Yeah.
a perfectly shaped S. Which,
It was creepy.
as the first letter of my name,
It was creepy.
was... Yeah, so I don't know if he saved us. I don't know what
Yeah,
sort
it
of
probably
demon
was save
animal ritual was going on. But it didn't do much for my psyche. Like,
Animal on animal rituals.
But
Yeah.
they do save it, right? They usually save it for their
Oh, yeah.
loved ones, so
Oh, yeah,
or
presents.
their favorite one.
They
I
like
bet
to
it was
give
just
presents.
a present,
yeah.
and it just happened to be.
Yeah,
an
it was
S,
just a
yeah.
present. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it happened to be an S.
No, you think?
Oh,
you did
no.
it?
I think he did it with his little face.
No.
Yeah, I think he did it.
Okay, that's a little odd.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too much.
Something was
liking.
going on.
Too
Yeah.
much? Okay, fine. Me, too much? I've never heard that before.
So, little recap of so Krishna is born. His uncle let's just say a terrible childhood, terrible birth even, and so evil as all hell. His uncle,
Not very nice.
was told that the 8th kid of his sister was going to be the one who kills him. So he kills all the kids. The 7th one gets away, and then the 8th one gets away, and that's Krishna. He goes to live as a cowherd, faraway place, where demons try to kill him, but he deals with them no problem, very happily so, not bothered at all. Living as a cowherd, growing up there, and then recently he's come back to the kingdom. He was invited by his uncle. It was a trap, but it all played out fine for Krishna, because he's an invincible baby. He is God in some sense.
He's cool as a cucumber.
So, and it didn't make sense to me. There's one episode, the reason they found out about him is because there's a story where he picks up a mountain, turns giant, and holds the mountain up in one finger. And yet they decide, well, let's trap him by calling him in for a wrestling match that's gonna kill him.
Like what?
How would that work?
It's not gonna work.
It didn't work. It didn't work
Nonsense.
at all. So that was him done. And then they stayed in the kingdom of Mathura, and that's where he started to kind of become more... He was always like, he was from the country. He grew a very simple life. All he cared about was butter.
True.
And now he was like he's learning the Vedas, he's learning the Asian texts and becoming more kind of in tune with city life and to be, in a ways, I would say more of a Kshatriya and more of a warrior. So that's always been an interesting thing with Krishna, where he does have different almost personalities depending on what age he is. And that's again, the story's been retold, changed. Some people want him more masculine, some people want him more feminine, and so he's a fictional character. So, at this point in the story, he's been getting lessons from his guru Sandipani. So Sandipani's been teaching him all these things, and him and his brother Balarama, they're picking it up really fast. Balarama was the 7th child.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
And also very powerful. There's this thing about the avatars of Vishnu, and Balarama and Krishna, by some accounts, are avatars of Vishnu. So Sandipani's telling him all these stories about the past avatars, and he starts explaining to him how society is, how culture is, and he talks about how there are 4 classes, each with their own, let's say, area of expertise and contribution to society. So one is the Brahmins. The Brahmins are more the thinkers, the ones with the ideas. The Kshatriyas are the ones in charge of land, so that means that they are warriors and also kings at the same time. Then you have the Vaishyas, who are the tradespeople, who deal and gather the wealth into the nation. And then you have the Shudra, who deal with services.
Tradesmen.
The tradesmen.
Yeah, got it. Can't have a society without them.
No, and without any of these.
Exactly.
And so he goes on to tell the story of how there needs to be balance between them, respect for each other's responsibilities. And he starts to tell him a story of, from the past, of the birth of Parashuram. Parashuram is someone we've talked about a couple times in this podcast, so I'm really excited to finally, dive into his origin. So, of course, with all of these stories, it never starts with them. We have to go at least 2 generations upward.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, we're going to... There was a guru, a brahmana named Richika, and then a woman named Gadi. Gadi was a queen. Her daughter was Satyavati, a different Satyavati than what we've talked about.
Okay.
In the episode.
I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah. There's a couple in here I'm like, the names don't have the same names, but they have the same names. So a different Satyavati than the one we've talked about in the past.
Okay.
And the Guru Vichika is really into Satyavati. Satyavati's much younger, though. Gadi's not so into Vichika. The mother's not into, you an old dude. I'm not happy with this idea of you marrying my young daughter.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I don't think Gadi's too old either.
Okay.
But she's not into this. And so she's like, all right, fine, you can marry her if you get me 100 white horses, and there's something where they have, a black ear as well.
Oh.
Oh, so, close to impossible.
Super specific. Yeah. Well, in her mind, impossible.
Right.
If you can get that for us, then you can marry her daughter. And Vichika goes on his way, and Gali's like, yeah, good. That guy's fucked off now. He ain't coming back. Vichika goes to Varuna, who is the god of the ocean. And I don't know what his connections are, but is able to bring him 100 horses. With the exact
god of the
specifications. Yeah.
That is, why the god of the ocean?
I mean, I guess he's got connections to everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Maybe it's
Is there an island somewhere full of these horses, and then he just scooted them over on a little raft?
Maybe. I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe it's because the water's has imagination. We talked about the churning of the ocean where
Sure.
mythical creatures come out last time.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, maybe they
maybe
just
it could be
came out of the ocean.
Mythical creatures, right?
Yeah.
And if they're white, they could be like the waves.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a wave. Now I'm just picturing a wave of horses coming out of the ocean.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
With black
That's
ears.
way cool.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that's
Let's
right.
do that. So
Yeah.
Because my
100
next
horses.
question was, how did he get the 100
Yeah.
horses wherever?
Oh, to
Conjuring.
where they needed to go?
Yeah. He need 100
Oh.
riders, But if they're coming
that's
out of the
true.
ocean,
They just come out
They
of the
just
ocean,
come out
and
of
they're
the
just
ocean.
Yeah.
maybe a dude behind
Galloping.
them going,
Yeah.
scoot, 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 scoot.
They just knew where they needed to go.
galloping.
Uh-huh.
Galloping.
So they go, and Gadi's like, oh, fuck. Okay, fine. That was the deal. Can't go back on it. So Vichika does marry Satyavati. There comes a point when everyone wants kids, and Vichika either himself makes it or goes to another guru, and gets this 2 bowls of essentially kheer, like rice pudding. And one of them is going to give rise to a brahmana. So I'm sorry. Whoever eats the one rice pudding, she will give birth to a powerful brahmana. Whoever eats the other rice pudding will give birth to a powerful kshatriya.
What's the difference between these rice puddings?
That is the only difference. I don't know if there's a flavor difference.
Well, how do they know which is which?
So by some accounts, that's one of the issues.
Okay.
Gadi wants a kshatriya son, and Satyavati wants a brahmana son. But Gadi doesn't really trust Vichika. So Gadi's thinking that he's going to take the better one, the kshatriya one,
Okay.
for his wife, and stick me with
You
a
could
lousy
argue,
brahmana.
But you could argue that depending on what is your perspective, the better is question. I mean,
Yeah.
And
depending on whether you want more, better spiritual or better powerful.
absolutely.
They're both powerful, but different ways.
Yeah. Now, Gadi being a queen, maybe
Right.
that's why
Why
she's
she wants
prejudiced towards having.
Yeah.
She wants a warrior king.
Warrior king.
And I think she's thinking that there's no way Vichika's gonna help me get a kshatriya. He will essentially be his brother-in-law, and that'll give me someone so powerful
It could take his position.
that could take his position or cause a rift. And there is some ideas of this story being something that reflects on the differences of between kshatriyas and brahmanas that was happening at the time. So, but definitely some mistrust is happening. So Gadi talks to her daughter and convinces her to switch the bowls.
Oh, no.
Well, you don't know which is which, so what's the point? Why are these people? They're crazy.
Why?
All right.
So they eat the magical rice pudding,
Sure.
and Vichika finds out what's happened, what they've done. And he's like, no, I gave both of you exactly what was intended for us. Why you fucked it up, dude? So now Gadi's stuck with getting a brahmana. and
Stuck with.
Yeah, the what she didn't want.
I know.
And Satyavati doesn't want a warrior son. Like, she doesn't want, like, and like the idea of this prophecy, and because of the power of this gear, it's gonna be a powerful, violent Kshatriya.
Wow.
Great.
And so Satyavati doesn't want that. She begs Vichika, like, what? Like, there's something we've got to do. And Vichika is able to put it off by one generation.
What? How do you do that?
Magic.
Sage. Come on.
I love it, though.
Sage magic.
I love it. It sounds even more complicated, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's fine. We're just going to hold
it
off.
until another generation.
Just
sounds
hold
like
it in your genes, your DNA, until
nobody kind
your
of
child has a baby.
Yeah.
until nobody remembers really what happened.
Yeah.
Basically.
And your child, it'll be a new generation. They probably won't care.
That's the hope.
That's the hope that they won't
or
care.
she just doesn't want it for hers. I don't know what their hope is.
Who cares about the future?
So, the son's name...
It's very selfish.
Yes, it is.
All right. Sorry.
The son's name is Jamadagni, and he is a Brahmana,
Okay.
a Rishi, because the violence was skipped.
Great.
But his mother did warn him. So, Jamadagni, I got his name right. Yeah, Jamadagni, the son, knows that he's going to have one Kshatriya kid. He ends up having 5 kids with his wife Renuka, and Renuka's very devoted to him.
Renuka?
Renuka.
That's a beautiful name.
Let's go with that, because I don't know how to pronounce it, but let's go with Renuka.
Oh, okay. I like it.
So, very devoted to him.
What do you do?
And also, like, just, I think also steeped in a lot of the Brahmana things. But 5 kids. And he doesn't know which one is the warrior.
Oh, wow.
And he's raising them all as Brahmanas, because that's what he knows.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know. So there's an aspect of this that tortures him, and he wants to know, like, which one of you 5 is it? Like, which is the one that's is a violent warrior in some respect?
It's the one with the huge thighs. Just ready to kick ass.
That translates to later. His thighs do develop really well later.
What?
I would say so.
I do not know.
Oh my god. Did he have good calves too?
He had good everything.
Okay.
We'll get to all that. Yeah. There's some excitement with getting to that.
I cannot wait.
So, anyway, as Jamadagni's trying to figure this out, Renuka is going, I think she's getting water. And there's one version I've read of the story where she has a clay pot, but it's not finished. But because of her own, I don't know what you would call it, control over her emotions and not getting horny at seeing anyone, that pot stays intact. So, but she goes to get some water, and there are Gandharvas about in this time. So, Gandharvas being extremely good-looking, taller men. Sometimes they're like kind of called elves as well. And so she has a couple impure thoughts. I wonder what that's like, which she's never had before in her life. And in this rendition of the story, the clay pot, I guess, like melts.
Oh no.
Like it loses its consistency.
Oh no.
Basically, she's like, he knows too. Hubby knows that I've had an impure thought about a mystical being.
Stupid clay pot.
Yeah.
Well, that's upsetting. I mean, you can't even have a thought without your pot's exploding. It's too bad.
But
I would think she could purify herself, right, to get the pot back.
There are ways to purify herself, yes.
Right.
So, yeah, there are ways to purify herself. So she goes back, and Jamadagni's there, and he knows that she's had this singular impure thought. And I don't know what the fuck's going on with this dude. Like, I've actually read the story a couple times, like, beforehand. I'm like, how do I even fucking tell this one? And I just had to make sure I had to look at other versions of this. Jamadagni's like, kids, your mother's had an impure thought. She's no longer pure. One of you needs to kill her.
What?
Do it all in one go, though. Like one hit, one strike, like merciless, like mercy killing. and just kill her. That's what you said about purifying her.
Yeah. But I thought there would be a chance to stay alive.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Well, but in this case, they think of generations, right? So
there's reincarnation.
Reincarnation,
right?
so it's not a big deal. She'll just come back and be,
well,
purifying the next life.
Some of the kids are fucking upset about it.
Yeah.
Like they're like, what the fuck? Like no, like we're not.
Like her.
Yeah, we don't want to kill her, and they have arguments with their father. I don't know how long the arguments go, but there's definitely like, this is the most insane fucking shit I've ever heard. And then, in the middle of this conversation, there's a thunk, and her head rolls between them.
That's the one.
Oh, they found him.
Yeah,
they found him.
And then the youngest, I think it is, the youngest, whose name is Rama, is, and the brothers are like super panicky mode.
Dude.
The dad.
Put her back on.
The dad is probably like, great, I found him.
The dad's also like freaked out.
Right.
I mean, again, different renditions of the story.
Is he like, I didn't think you guys would actually do it?
In some renditions, yes. Like in some, I think that was like, he didn't think it would happen.
It was a joke.
He freaks out.
Oh my God.
And sage magi powers, the 4 sons, he freezes, turns into stone.
What?
Yep. Because they're freaking out after this whole thing. Moment to panic.
Sure.
And then the last one is just there, not upset. Very Brahmana-like in that respect. And then the father's like, fuck. Like, okay. Clearly he's the one. He's scared of him.
Wait, hold on a second.
Yeah, sure.
So the 4 boys also disappear because they turned to stone?
He's turned them to stone. They're right there, but he's turned them to stone.
Because they were panicking so much? He was just like, quiet! And then they turned
either
to stone.
that or he was punishing them.
Because they're Brahmins, they shouldn't be doing that, right?
But he punished the 4 for not listening to him.
Oh, for not doing it?
Yeah, for not doing it.
I thought it was because he was panicking, because they were panicking, and he's just like, everyone shut up! And then magic, now they're stone.
I feel like that's as good a rendition
Any
as well.
of it could have happened? That's
I feel
the movie
that's
version.
As good, yeah.
That's like
that's as good as a rendition.
Kid movie version. Like the cartoon version.
There's no kid movie version of a
not
kid.
This one, killing their mom.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Looney Tunes?
Did they kill their mom in Looney Tunes?
Probably.
No.
There was so much murder.
Then you could put them back on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is kiddie version. We'll see.
Oh, God.
But he did it with his axe, which is known as a palu.
Mm-hmm.
And so the father's like, okay, I'm shit scared of this kid now. Also,
we just take that axe away.
He did exactly what I told him to do.
Yeah.
Without hesitating.
Yeah.
Without, like, he obeyed me immediately. And so for that I have to... Mm-hmm. And so he tells him, like, you've done what I asked. Without any pause. Kind of wish you would have paused a little, but you didn't.
Oh my God.
And I grant you 2 boons. And so, Parashuram, the 2 boons are restore my mother to life and restore my brothers.
Oh, nice.
Oh. Wait, wasn't the little guy's name Rama?
After he does this act, his father renames him Parashuram. So Ram is still there, but it's basically Rama with an axe.
Oh. Oh.
So that's why his name is Parashuram.
Okay. Thank you kindly. Understood.
Yeah. So they get restored. And there's a point where Jamadagni like realizes that he's probably he's actually a good kid. Like he used his boons properly here.
Yeah.
Used his boons to bring back his family. Didn't give in to the anger that he definitely had. And so that's how the Ram becomes Parashuram. So he goes up, I think basically just a born warrior, but still also a Brahmana.
Okay.
So in some ways, he is that combination of the 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
Later on, there's a king known as Kartavirya Arjuna, and we're just going to call him Kartavirya because it's too confusing with the other Arjunas.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the other example.
Yeah.
And Kartavirya, evil king, 1,000 arms.
That's so many arms.
So many arms.
He's got to have his own tailor. Like a private tailor.
Yeah.
Multiple that deal with just the sleeves.
I'm glad he's a king. Like, that's a lot. You gotta pay these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, imagine the armor too. Like, you can make me an armor with 1,000 holes in it.
I guess it could just be sleeveless. Still need holes.
Yeah. Maybe he just got sleeveless. I think that would make...
It's just like a muscle
The armor
tee.
just
it's a
convinced
muscle
him.
tee all the way
like,
down.
Just go without sleeves. It'll be better for you, and that's too much work to do.
How do you fit the 1,000 arms? I'm a little stuck on this. Yeah. Like, are they on his back too? Like, how do you fit the arms?
It would be like a sphere.
Are they all just baby arms? Are they all very weak? And they just flop around like...
I imagine a sphere. You know, like those fuzzy balls where you all over...
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I don't know how he
sphere.
gets
it's
anywhere.
so unattractive to me. That stuff.
It's gotta get in the way.
Thinking of like olive oil arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so wibbly.
Yeah. He must have a fantastic coordination though. Mm-hmm. Like, because one arm's like arm number 1 has got to get in the way of arm number 597 at some point. You know.
Do you think you can do like 500 different things at a time?
Yes.
Imagine him being a prep cook.
Yeah, but he could.
Oh, okay.
That's neat.
So the thing about him is in some renditions, he is actually an incarnation of one of Vishnu's weapons.
Okay.
Vishnu has like a chakra that he throws that has like 1,000 edges to it.
Oh, interesting.
So in some renditions, he is the embodiment of that he needs to be to learn humility.
Okay.
Right now, he is not humble. He is very much violent Kshatriya.
Sure.
And he comes to see Jamagdani, and they give him a feast, him and his wife Renuka. And what he sees is that they have a magical cow.
He wants magical beans? Or magical what milk?
Magical milk, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So he wants the cow.
Oh, God.
And threatens them with death.
After sitting at their table?
Yeah. Good point. Like, really, like, you come, sit at that table, eat the food graciously, and then once more, I'm like, I'm going to take that cow.
Sees outside, sees a cow sparkling, and be like, well, that's pretty cool.
I'm going to take it.
That's too much. Mm-hmm. So he's really a bad guy.
He is. So, I don't know, picks it up with his 1,000 arms. At least it's good for something. But he takes the cow back.
Not good.
Yeah. Parashuram finds out about this. Probably wasn't there at the time. He goes to get it back.
Hell yeah, he does.
And people get in his way. He takes out his axe, slaughters through them. Just warrior to as many as he can. There's no stopping him. The violence of this is being heard from everywhere. He gets to the king, Kartavirya, and kills him with his axe. By the time he gets back, all the other Kshatriyas are pissed off that this fucking Brahmana came and killed their king, or their, including their father, so some of these are the sons of his. And they kill his father. They kill Jamagdagni.
Oh no.
They stab him 21 times, apparently.
Oh.
And continue, I think there's other waves of violence that they do. I don't know what happens to his mother or his brothers. I tried to look this up. And I don't know if, there's no mention of them being killed as well. But Jamagdani definitely killed.
That sucks.
Parashuram. Fuck this shit. Fuck these Kshatriyas. And he goes and slaughters more Kshatriyas. Gets vengeance on all of them and just goes on a tirade against all deemed evil. Kills almost all, if not all, the Kshatriyas at the time.
Wow.
Just slaughters them all. He may have left some that have soft ties to his family.
Okay.
That I think through his mother that forgave or he didn't attack. But wipes out the Kshatriyas of this age.
And the only thing left in the land is his magical cow. Going, I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean for this to happen.
This is not what I wanted.
I didn't want this. It's covered in blood.
I love that. I love that rendition.
Yeah. Cow's just chewing the cud. I was like, what the hell is all this about?
What's going on?
Yeah. I wonder why this is happening. It's
it's
all for you, dude.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, he gets the cow back, obviously. So.
I assumed so. Because otherwise.
Yeah.
What is the point of any of this?
After he's killed everyone, and has a lot of blood on his hands, a lot of blood on his axe. Mm-hmm. Has realized that he must do some kind of penance and needs to give something to the Brahmana class to help them thrive after all of this violence. But he's a Brahmana. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have land. So I think he makes a deal with Varuna, again a god of the ocean. But he stands on top of a mountain and hurls his axe out over the ocean. And there's some renditions of it like that just becomes the marker. There's other renditions where the ocean's like, I don't want to touch this. So it reels back. Oh. So either it reels back or the axe lands and then that land is raised by Varuna.
Yeah, I get it.
Interesting.
And in that land, he establishes a lot of temples to Brahmins.
Okay.
That land, by legend, is the land of Kerala.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
cool
god.
So that's where I am from.
That's cool.
Listeners. And so that's one of the legends of how Kerala came to be.
Huh.
One other legend about Parashuram, and I think about him being a Brahmana and a Kshatriya, and now axeless. He is supposedly also the father of the martial arts style Kalaripayattu. So there's a martial arts style which, listeners, you should definitely look up. It's very impressive. It's kind of this combination almost of martial arts and yoga.
Say it again. What is it?
Kalaripayattu. So he develops that, and that martial art is also said to be, I think it's like a Kalaripayattu monk who travels to China. So for some ideas, it's that Kalaripayattu and Parashuram is the father of all martial arts.
In modern day Kerala.
Yep, still practiced today.
Is it the one that has the really long, thin sword, too?
Yeah, there's the one that just has
it's
just a thing of metal.
Super long, thin,
Yeah.
whips around.
Yeah, it's like, if you think nunchakus are dangerous, the sword is 1,000 times more dangerous. I'm forgetting the name of it. The Ulumi sword, that's what it is.
Yeah, here's a great picture of that. Probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of leaps and just...
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is neat.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that?
And it is a martial art that has some yoga principles to it. I've done a little bit of it. Nothing.
Have you really?
When I say a little, that's the focus really is on the word little. Maybe more focus on the word very.
The kick one?
Huh?
Is it the kick one?
Yeah, the kick one.
But I've done some too.
Yeah. Well, I will say my grandfather actually did a little.
Recently.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
No, I mean no, I didn't mean it that way. I'm like, I didn't know you did martial arts.
I don't.
Yeah. Hi, listeners. I would like to read you an excerpt from my book, Legacy of the Crow, A Gathering at Ishastra, Part 1. Kalisha was the first word that came to her when she awoke a mortal. Her trembling body burned like lava as she rolled frantically upon the grass. Everything hurt. Even breathing hurt, though she could not stop herself from doing it. Fear overwhelmed her. Had something gone wrong? Was this a part of human existence she didn't know about? Would she always feel like this? She buried her hands and feet into the mud that was her womb. It cooled her. The pain subsided. The only part of her that continued to glow and burn was the tattoo on her forearm of a fully realized crow with folded wings. Actual crows gathered in the trees above her. They brought her insects, fruits, and nuts to eat, and guided her towards a stream for water. She was fully grown, but could only crawl for her first few days. As she got stronger, language and memories of an immortal life, as well as her purpose for being here, came with it. She was fortunate to be able to communicate with her crows, her family. She instructed them to bring her as many scraps of paper as they could find. Who knew where they stole it from? But from her memories flashing through her mind, she knew there was civilization around her. Her mobility was limited, but she fashioned writing instruments by cutting grooves into sticks and using thinned-out mud as ink. When she was nearly recovered from her transformation, Kalisha learned with some amusement that she was a woman. It was while drinking from a lake when she saw her reflection that the obvious dawned on her. By then, she'd forgotten what had made her a male spirit, with no physical body to define the phenomenon. But she did recall having what now seemed like an excessive amount of masculine energy. She enjoyed the surprise for what it was. not realizing the blessing it would be to her mission. You can find more information of Legacy and the Crow on my website, spjaraj.com. It is available for order at your local bookstores or on multiple digital platforms.
Hello, listeners. Today's guest, Didi Koka, wants everyone to know about Joseph's Coat in St. Paul, Minnesota. Joseph's Coat was founded in 1989 in response to the need for no-cost clothing, personal and household items by those living below the poverty line in St. Paul's inner city. It was conceived as a place where volunteers would donate their time and resources to provide needed items and would join with the community to create a storefront that extended welcome, acceptance, and respect for all. Each day, Joseph's Coat serves people whose life challenges have left them in need of essential goods. Find out how you can give or receive help at josephscoatmn.org or call 651-291-2472 between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday to make a donation appointment. We hope you'll consider making your year-end gift to support the mission of Joseph's Coat today. All right, now back to the show.
My grandfather actually did a little of this with us when we were kids, so it was kind of nice to rediscover it. And then, it's just another thing of the goddamn everything leads down to Mahabharata and
that is really cool.
Indian mythology. So,
the other thing that I think about is that Kerala is also more Christian part of.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, I know a lot of Kerala Christians.
Yeah, and then with Krishna and now I'm kind of putting things together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So, Sandipani, this is the story that he tells young Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And Krishna absorbs the tale and just starts getting the life lessons. And it is interesting that he's learning about avatars that are basically avatars of himself. Because he is also an avatar of Vishnu. Now, the interesting thing about Parashuram, I think, is that he's supposedly one of the immortals. So even though his story happened ages ago, he's still alive as a Brahmana Kshatriya, who has been training some of the people in the Mahabharata. Although he will never, or at least intentionally, never train Kshatriyas. So he will only train probably Brahmanas, but definitely never Kshatriyas. This is to give power back to the others. So he's still wary of them, still hates the fuck out of them. So he's doing his thing, so it's nice that Krishna has kind of learned about this aspect of himself. So him and his brother Balarama, Krishna and Balarama, have been sitting and listening to Sandipani, and there's been a wealth of information of all these stories that Sandipani's been teaching them. Somehow the two young boys, avatars of Vishnu, are able to absorb everything that he's told in record time. Something like 64 days by one account. They've got everything that this guru has ever told them. So, after that, they ask Sandipani, what can we do for you now? We've learned everything we can from you. What can we do for you for you? Just what can we do for you? What'll make you happy? And Sandipani's this is, it just brings him to kind of he gets a little teary. And he starts to say, the one thing you cannot do, we were visiting this place called Prabhasa on the coast, and we never saw my son again.
Oh.
So I don't know where my son has gone. Don't know if he's alive. But we never saw him again. So Krishna and Balarama say that we will find your son.
Cool.
We will go find him.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long ago did this happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have limited stories for these Krishna
At least 64 days. Or how many days it was.
At least 64 days. Yeah, probably a little more than that.
Yeah.
Krishna and Balarama head to Prabhasa.
Okay.
To figure out where Sandipani's son is and to find him.
Find the kid.
Yes. There they talk again to Varuna.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
They're
most
buds.
At this point, yeah, this is the most he's appeared in the story in a single telling in this podcast, actually.
That's interesting.
And asks, this is where he was lost. Can you return him if you have him? And Varuna says that he is being held by the conch demon.
What?
Okay, do we know
Hold
anything
on.
about... Okay, where did this
all
demon
I
come
know-
The
from?
god of the sea doesn't have control over the conch demon. The conch demon just like hangs out in the sea, or what?
Apparently so.
He's got like a little
Yeah.
conch den down there. Oh my gosh.
No, but
Yeah.
I could see that. So
I
just
love
because
that.
you're a god of the sea doesn't mean each individual person has their little powers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What's interesting about this is that as you see, like, the limitations of each god.
Yeah.
Conch demon in love.
So, I guess Krishna dives. I don't know if Balarama dives with him. I bet there are some editions where he does. Why not? Let's have them be. This be a brother's tale. So they go dive into the ocean, and they confront the conch demon.
Oh, they got directions of where to find him in the entire ocean?
Yep.
Great.
And let's just say Varuna gave them at least directions of where they are.
Can we have some montage music for them like swimming like dolphins through the ocean?
Dolphins is exactly the way you want to go.
Yes!
Yeah, Krishna and dolphins are tied.
Oh!
I think he has like dolphin earrings at some point.
How do I keep doing
I
that?
don't know. That's pretty cool.
I love it.
You've been immersed in the story so
That's
far,
true.
so now
I
you're
just had a feeling.
your
But
intuition about it is
I
developing.
think of all the animals in the sea, that would make the most sense.
A dolphin?
Yeah. Yeah.
How so?
Because it's both like very skilled, playful, communicative, you know.
Yeah.
My God, like just
You
those
know?
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a playful person.
Yeah.
Like one of the aspects for him is his friendship.
Yes.
Like he is a god of friendship.
Oh, that's cool.
Best friends.
So goes, confronts the conch demon. I mean, there's a tussle. I have no idea, guys, how this fight can take place because I don't know.
Is the conch demon an actual conch shell, like a giant conch?
I just
And-
know it's a conch shell,
or
so
is it-
maybe it's a giant
Or
one.
is he a crab with a conch shell on him, and he's got like big eyes, and he's just like click, 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 and he's like, oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
say-
what's
I
happening, right?
see something slightly. I see.
Oh,
a
what you
conch-
see? Yeah, let me see.
I
This
see a
is awesome.
conch. I see like how the conch has that shell,
Yes.
and I see it like this face that kind of different parts of it move around with different, like almost armor-like.
Yes.
Armor hand, like moving around with the moves with the
Yes.
conchy, and that's
Yes.
how I see it.
Yeah. Let's make it
And then-
threatening.
Yeah.
And did Krishna and his bro, like, did they turn back into their normal selves once they got to this conch's den? Like,
Oh, because
is
you
there-
thought? Did you
is
think
it a
they turned
water-filled-
into dolphins?
That's how I feel.
Oh, sure. I don't
No,
think
I
they
guess
do,
they
but
didn't.
why not?
No,
didn't.
they
They were-
probably
nobody
just
saw
use
them.
they just use dolphin
Yeah, you're right.
attributes,
You're
right? Like
Yeah.
good hearing.
No, you're
and,
right.
Feeling like
It's more fun to
intuition.
watch them swim not as dolphins anyway.
Yeah. Man, that reminds me. Like, there's the
But
movie.
could they have brought all the dolphins with them to
Come
be
along,
warriors?
friends.
To be warriors, you know?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I like all of this.
Isn't that-
I wish I had more sources. Although it's fun not having enough sources. And we're just
So
gonna
when
go
they
with
got
this.
to the den, was it waterless? Like when they got in there, was it still full of
Yeah,
water?
I
Or
don't
could they, was it a
know.
big like bubble den where like you could see water outside, but they didn't need water inside because it's
Oh.
a shell.
Or do they just hold their breath?
Yeah, but then the fight
Yeah,
would be slow mo.
And then the conch demon had this tail, like how conches have that
yeah.
little flute at the end.
Yeah,
yeah,
The
yeah.
flute at the end would be like a dinosaur.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Boom.
It's
Yes.
striking at Balarama.
Yeah.
Balarama's taking
Oh,
the
this is a
hits,
good-
distracting
this is a good
him.
battle.
Uh-huh. I'm glad that we've turned it into a good battle. Like I said, like I don't know how we're gonna do like a
Or
bloody
was
shell.
it just they arrive, they knock on his door, and he's like,
Oh my God.
"Hey," and he's like, "Hey, is that kid we're looking for?" And the conch is like, "Yeah, he's just been hanging out here watching cartoons." And then Balarama's like, "Cool, punch," and then he takes the kid and goes,
No, this is a
it's not
demon.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing?
I see that going, but then
Uh-huh.
because they have the dolphin and that high pitched noise,
Yeah.
and then they get all the dolphins of the
You really want all the
ocean, and it
Yeah.
breaks part of his shell.
"Yeah!"
Okay. That's big, giant conch
And
demon.
the conch is like
armored
he's
muscle.
still screaming. His little pieces
Is
you
that-
can hear.
yes.
"Ah!"
Yes,
And
this
they
is the
float
stroll
away.
away. Yeah.
They just float
That's
away.
totally how I
And
see it.
behind him, they see this little boy going, "Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you for saving me.
I love it.
thank you so much. She's
But
already been
I
colonized.
love the idea of it though, because then it's almost like it's still like it's like the gentleness of that noise destroys this violent demon.
So they battle the conch demon in all of these ways, and this multiverse of stories of how it happens. But the kid ain't there.
Oh, come on!
And he does. They do get out of the demon that the kid's in the land of Yama. It's one of the lands of the dead.
Oh, so he killed him, or the kid
I assume
died.
so. I assume that he killed him.
Or maybe he brought him home with him, and he was like, "This will be fun. I'll have a little friend to have." And then the kid drowned because he's like, "Oh, I can't actually live under here."
Yeah.
Well, he only lasted like 4
horrible.
minutes. That wasn't a good friend.
No.
And now he's dead.
Totally fail for the conch demon.
Oh.
However,
I don't know. Maybe not.
Krishna, after defeating the conch demon, transforms it into what is known as the Panchajanya, which is basically the conch shell that he... Krishna was born with tattoos on him, and one of them is a conch shell.
Oh.
And this becomes one of the iconic items that is just synonymous with Krishna.
Okay.
And in one rendition, okay, kids in the land of the dead with the god Yama, I gotta go to the land of the dead now.
Okay.
And so he uses this to announce that he's going to go to the land of the dead.
That was the announcement.
That was it. Done really well on a conch shell. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes,
Yep.
it does.
Exactly what it sounds like. He goes.
It's really great. It was like,
I love that you guys just waited for it to be over. Oh, when is this going to be over?
I'm hoping our listeners aren't thinking the same thing.
I don't blame them.
He goes, he crosses over the Vaitani River, which separates the dead from the living.
just like the Greek.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating. This is like, these stories I have not seen in the Mahabharata.
Wow.
So that's what's fascinating about reading these Krishna stories, that there is some, we're seeing crossovers here for sure, and there is Greek influence. So, however, this dude is God. Unlike the poor sap who was it? Was it Orpheus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He went to get someone from the dead,
Yeah.
and then he fucked it up at the end.
Yeah.
He sure did.
He was meant to not look back, and he looked back.
He looked back.
And I have some great books about what that really means and stuff. However, the main thing to learn is that unlike him, he wasn't God.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So Krishna goes to Yama and says, "I'm here to get this kid."
Mm-hmm.
And the god of the dead is, well, you are the god.
Mm-hmm.
So there he is.
Yeah.
Grab him.
Sure. He's not doing anything.
And grabs him and takes him back to the living.
Wow.
Takes him back to his dad.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And delivers on the promise he made to his teacher.
So wait a minute. How does that work for the
Little
little guy? Did
And how old is
was
the
he
little
just does he just sleep through it all? Do they squish time into like being just a dream, so that during the time he's dead it was all just a dream, and that, you know what I mean? Like, how does that?
I
don't
hope
know,
to
but I
one
want
day
to
know these answers to these questions, but I don't know for this one. And like I said, the Krishna stories, I'm just dealing mainly with the one source with a couple internet things and a couple other books that I'm doing, and so, but I don't have as many sources. But there's gotta be this. This is clearly like a vast summary, right, of like what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And does the story just end when he returns the kid to his dad? Is that where the story ends? Or like, do we know how this kid is doing? Like did he seem
normal?
normal?
Or does he come back again in the story?
Yeah, the one that I'm reading, which is Shyam by
Does he have
Devdutt
claws
Patnaik. The one I'm reading by Devdutt
a
Patnaik,
little
which is
tail.
Shyam, has very pleasant pictures of this kid like riding on the shoulders of Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is like,
I mean, it fits with the playful aspect.
it fits with the fact that this. So here's the thing that Krishna has done now. In earlier versions, he defied Indra, the king of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
He defied Brahma, the creator, and now he has defied the Lord of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So it's just all stuff that adds up to the fact that he is the ultimate
Yeah.
god. And so the fact that there's anything that has gone wrong in this case, just it feels like it wouldn't be. Like it feels like this is a happily ever after version here for his stories. At this point,
Good.
his mother kind of finds out about this.
Whose mother?
Krishna's mother.
Krishna's mother. Okay, thank you.
Krishna and Balarama's mother.
Yes.
And birth mother, because they had the mother who raised them in the villages.
Oh, that's good clarification.
Yeah. So the birth mother, who is, what was her name?
So she's a shepherdess, right?
No, the birth mother was actually a queen.
Oh, okay.
So, and then basically she gave birth to him, and then they snuck him out.
Swapped. Okay.
Yeah. Vasudev was the father, and Devaki is the mother.
Devaki.
So they're the birth parents.
Yeah.
And Devaki finds out about this. And she is, like we know from the past, is that she had 6 kids. She had 8 kids total. And the first 6 were killed as babies.
Oh, I know what's going to happen.
So Krishna decides, and I think again with Balarama,
Go back to
we're going to go get those
the
other,
6
my
kids.
brothers and sisters. All brothers. All brothers.
Oh my gosh.
And so they go back to Yama.
Uh-huh.
And, hey, we come for 6 more. And Yama explains, that's great, they're not here. They're in the other realm, or another realm of the dead.
Oh.
So that's what's cool about it, like there are multiple
is that
realms.
where babies go?
I don't know the rules as to why, maybe because they were asuras?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
okay.
too.
There's asuras in
Okay.
the sense that there's other ideas where these 6 kids were asuras who were cursed. And that's why they got killed immediately.
Yeah.
Or it was to save them from a curse of some kind. From, the horrible things of being born on Earth. Yama explains to them they're actually in Sutala. So, a different world.
Okay.
And so, Krishna and Balarama find their way to Sutala, which is ruled by the Asura king Bali. And they're prepared to do what needs to be done to get their 6 brothers and sisters, who I think I guess they are still babies, at least in the pictures I saw.
I would think they would be. Like,
Yeah.
why would they grow there?
Right.
I don't know.
Bali sees Krishna and recognizes him as a previous avatar.
Oh, wow.
So Bali was, and we covered this in our last episode too, where Bali was a king, an Asura king, who was a very good king, but had friction with the devs, the gods of the heavens. And so, to settle that, Vishnu had taken on the form of a dwarf, Vamana, and basically tricked Bali. He asked Bali as a dwarf, "Can I take 3 steps and own what my 3 steps are?" And Bali's like, "Yeah, that's not a problem. Go ahead, 3 steps, whatever you put your foot on, you own." At this point, Bali owned the earth and the heavens. Treated everyone right, though. But again, the devs didn't like that. Vishnu in this form grows to be so gigantic. His first step is of the heavens. His second step is of the earth. And then he still had to take another 3rd step. And Bali, who was a Vishnu devotee, said, "You can put it on me." And when he did that, instead of killing him, he pushed him down into Sutala and made him the king of Sutala.
I've heard this story before.
So Bali is, very gracious of this and asks and says, "Yeah, here are the 6. When you say that you've heard the story before, have we had Diwali? Yes. Yeah, so the story of Vishnu conquering Bali is a Diwali story.
Yeah.
The story of Bali coming back every year, because again he was a good king, is celebrated in Kerala as Onam. Because you celebrate Vishu?
Yeah, I'm supposed to.
Supposed to, yeah. Me too. That's accurate, yeah. And Vishu's weird because
Supposed to.
yeah. Because Vishu's like the South Indian New Year, whereas Diwali's like, I feel like that's more the North Indian New Year. But Vishu also is like, Keralites have a different one. Tamil Nadu's one is like a day later or a day after. So there's plenty more to learn, clearly here.
Fair.
So I wasn't sure if Autumn was connected to that as well. But for Kerala, like Autumn is, we celebrate Bali as just as being a good king. So yeah, he brings the kids back, and the mother Devaki is just happy to see them. She has all her 8 kids with her, and then the kids do start to perish. They don't have that connection to the mortal realm anymore. But at least when they pass now, they go to Devaloka.
Wait, the babies start dying?
Yeah, they don't last.
What?
Oh, that's interesting.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Their connection to the mortal plane was severed.
Severed or severed?
Oh, severed.
Severed,
Yeah.
Severed.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, I just mean
Yeah.
different things. So,
Now the other one came from Yama, came from a different world.
sure.
But Yama is the normal death for normal humans, right? Is that how you understand it?
That's how I understand it. I don't know if that's an accurate
Okay.
way of understanding it at this point. I do know there are different lands of the dead. And so this is like, so I'm not clear as to why the rules were different for these 6 kids.
Well, you'd said something about them perhaps having had a curse or something, which is why.
Yeah.
So once the curse is lifted, they are able to just go back to their normal, whatever they were supposed to do.
Yeah, at least, like I said, like now they're not going back to Sutala this time. Now they're going to the Devaloka, so the land. So I guess essentially the heavens.
So is
he
that
still...
a comfort then to the mother then, even though they died again? Did they all die?
Yeah.
All 6 of those babies died?
All 6 did die.
But is that a comfort to her now that she knows they're not cursed anymore?
I imagine so.
Or
At least
is
she
that
got to
just a
see them all.
double-edged sort of like,
Oh, just a taste.
just a taste of these babies again. Now they're dead.
I would think it
Yeah.
would be the first thing. Though.
Okay, I hope so.
I would think that she would get it, and then it's
This-
almost like it's like a true sending off to the right.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's something about Krishna where, even with the demons he's killed, anyone he touches has salvation.
Sure. So he's touching the babies.
So
they've
he's
been
because he
saved.
carried them back.
Oh, I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of that.
So maybe that's why, at least in their next
Sure.
life,
They've been purified.
they've been purified enough in their next life.
Well, that's a really good son.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good son.
Krishna is a very good
then
son.
That's beautiful. Okay. Oof.
So Krishna at this point, he's been doing a lot in this nation. Basically understood now, like he's not. He had told his people of his little village that he'll come back. Obviously, he loves it there, but he's starting to take on new responsibilities. He's learned all this. His role in the world is going to be greater. He can't return back to being a cowherd,
Sure.
and he doesn't even want to give them kind of hope that he'll be back. So he ends up sending like a friend of his to go and talk and like just to, because if he appears, they're gonna get super excited. And so he sends a friend of his to go down, and very well educated person, also kind of has also one of Santapani's students. So he goes and his name is Uddhava, and Uddhava goes and lets them know that Krishna has blessings for you all, but he will not be coming back.
Sure.
And lets the parents know, the adopted parents, Yashoda and Rohini.
Yeah.
And then, of course, lets Radha know, who he had a long relationship with. I don't think he ever married her.
Okay.
And lets Radha know as well. So that's like, it kind of puts this pinpoint on, or this point of ending where this is now Krishna's life. Very different life right now. Now he's in this new kingdom of Mathura, which he took from his evil uncle. There is another person whose name is Jarasandha, evil king of another kingdom, and Jarasandha is pissed off when the evil king Kamsa is killed. Jarasandha wants to rule everything.
Sure.
And
Of course he does.
yeah,
Why
of
wouldn't
course he
you?
does. And he
You're an
definitely,
evil king.
yeah. And he has his eye on, mostly he has his eye on the richest nation, which is the land of the Kurus, which is like the main Mahabharata story with the capital of Hastinapur.
Yeah.
But Krishna and his Yadavas are in the way with being in Mathura. So, and now that Kamsa's killed, he's furious. So he's ready to go to war. Jarasandha himself has like a really interesting story with him, where he is. So his father married 2 wives, and I think they were twins, and he loved them both so much. He gets this magical fruit of sorts that will ensure a godly birth of some kind, like a powerful birth.
Whoa.
You know, so like whoever eats the fruit will get an amazing kid.
Cool.
He loves both his wives equally.
Mm-hmm.
So he splits it in 2.
Sure.
And he gives them each a half.
Mm-hmm.
When they give birth to an extraordinary half each. So
What?
Stillbirths.
Stillbirths.
Yeah.
What?
And just half.
Oh my god, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Very horrifying. I know.
What?
Okay.
So he has it wrapped up and taken to the forest somewhere. I was like,
Jesus.
well, that wish didn't work out the way I was hoping it would.
Yeah.
Let's not do that one again.
Uh-huh.
Jeez Louise.
There's a Rakshasa, so a demon figure, a lady demon figure, who's looking for food and they're known for eating flesh. And she's kind of in the woods, and she finds these 2 halves.
Like, ooh, half babies.
Yeah,
Delicious.
but both of them. And her sense of hunger kind of like is, her curiosity is more.
Okay.
As she's found these 2 very, like, maybe she can sense it, she's a magician as well, that there's power, but they're fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so using magic, she fuses them together, the 2 halves.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid comes to life.
That's what I was thinking.
Takes it to the father, and the father's like, "This is your kid.
Yeah.
You brought them back to life. We got rid of him. But I think that guy was still a king, so the kid would still have the kingdom. So that's how he became king.
Oh.
So he was raised by a demon.
Raised by a demon.
So raised by an evil demon and kind of cast aside by his own father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
absolutely.
who's this?
This is Jarasandha.
Oh,
Jarasandha.
what a story.
Oh my god.
And so Jarasandha now...
Jarasandha needs therapy. Right away.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
Very soon.
So Jarasandha of Magadha now wants to get Mathura, which was the nation that was ruled by Krishna's evil uncle.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, ready to go and attack, ready for war. The Yalavas are afraid, like, why don't we just go apologize for killing Kamsa? And Krishna's like, that's not gonna fucking work. And, you know, like, he was an evil tyrant king. He needed to die.
Yeah.
So, Jarasandha attacks, but Krishna and Balarama take on the military operations. So they're now in charge of the military, and each time this guy tries to attack, it fails.
Yeah.
Each time. 17 times he tries to attack, and it fails.
Okay.
So then he's like, what the fuck? He then enlists a mercenary. Mercenary's name is Kalayavana. Kalayavana himself has a boon on his side as well. His boon is that he will be the one to destroy Mathura.
Okay.
And now he is on Jarasandha's side. And it's a boon that it's basically law. Like, this is going to happen. And so once that attack starts and they know that, the Krishna and his tribe, Krishna and Balaram, have to come up with a new plan. So now it's like Mathura is gone. Like, this nation will be raised. It is up to us to whether we here or not when it happens.
Okay.
So they form a plan where everyone evacuates, and they kind of I guess Krishna uses magic to make it seem like they're still there, but they empty the city. I think they go to battle to at least kind of slow down the armies to allow for everyone else to escape.
Cool.
So then everyone else escapes. Kalyavana comes and, yeah, he raises Mathura, as was his destiny.
But he doesn't kill anybody.
But he doesn't kill anybody.
Everyone escaped.
That's a cool story.
That's good.
I like that. That is really...
And he uses like illusions or whatever.
He uses illusions.
To make it look like everyone's just going about their business.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is pretty cool.
I'm just imagining him like going through the city trying to like swipe at people and then they just goes right through him and he's going, no! And he burns everything to the ground.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happens.
Dead on.
You're like
I got it again.
3 for 3.
So...
Or did the illusions look like they were murdered?
Did the what?
Did the illusions bleed? Did the illusions bleed?
Oh. I just know illusions.
Okay, cool.
That worked.
So probably not. Then.
Yeah.
Are they going to go back to the sea god? And is the sea god going to part the sea so the people can get out?
It's not that far off.
Oh my god!
You are so
Moses!
Yeah, that's really interesting.
But so anyway, that's what I've got for you today. Some more of like Krishna's story.
Cool.
So
yeah, this has been fun. I'm very happy that I got to tell the story of Parashuram.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great story.
how fascinating.
Especially
story.
with like
I
the
love all
connections
these
to
ties.
Kerala.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I love the
Yeah.
ties that keep happening.
Yeah.
To Kerala and like the different, the things that I just think it's.
And I think
I
that's
love the
that's the thing with the Mahabharata. There's with people, some people thinking it's purely factual, but there are like this is this land, like this is this, you know.
Yeah. There's facts. I mean,
There's facts in
there's
there.
truth to any story, no
Yes.
matter what.
Yeah.
Even if there's truth to all fictional stories too. Like just because there's no way that you would believe the story if it didn't have some sort of factualness in it.
Yeah.
You have to have that balance.
And then there's a cultural authenticity too, right?
Yeah.
Because it explains how things are and why,
Yeah.
why it's like this.
Yes.
You know?
What is your new thoughts on Krishna?
Wow. I like the stories of him using his powers to save. I think that's it's a little different than the previous, I feel, gods and things. It feels much more, and in that way it feels more modern almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a feeling of modernity to him. Just in, like we talked about some of his early interactions where he's telling off sages for dumping a pile of ghee into the fires for their yagnas.
Yes.
But he's like, yeah, you got all these people who could eat that.
Yeah, there's something about that is.
And and then the fact that he defies the other gods in ways that are, I mean, he's meant to be one of them, right?
Yeah.
But he's not, in the stories that I've read so far, someone who demands worship. Whereas, like for Indra, it was like Indra demanded worship. And it's when he wasn't getting worship that he got angry. But so far, I haven't seen anything with Krishna where, he demands worship in any of his ages.
No, and then even the conflicts he's getting into have a much more like logical, like he's going to save someone, he's going to this place to, it's like got a much more, even that is more humanistic or like reason.
Yeah.
The saving of people, I think, is fascinating because I don't feel like that is how it was in the early stories.
In one of the early episodes, I was making comparisons to him and Superman. But very much so. Like it is like, I mean, the whole idea of like the whole Superman is that he's got the powers of a god, but he doesn't take over.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get arrogant about it. And Krishna being even more with some of the things he's done.
Yeah.
But in the renditions I'm reading where he's doing it, without demand of anything in return, just like his no arrogance or anything at all, not expecting anything,
and then being able to be like a god that could have a child on his back. Like how many of the other gods would be able to do that? You know? That's just so very.
That's true. Like I feel like physical
willing.
contact with him is
amazing.
Yeah, I never looked into that, but and yeah, like I'm thinking of like the renditions and like even in the story where it's common to see him with other people.
Yeah.
Interacting with other people as opposed to being above them.
Right. And the gentleness or something about it.
I
There's
like
some sort of love about it, you know.
There is absolutely like a love and gentleness to him, which
Yeah.
I think is also like some of the aspects that do make people think of him and like I can see ties to Christianity. Like very much so. One of the things that I really like about him is his femininity too. Yeah. Like there's always been depicted. I think one of our guests like thought that he'd like when he saw pictures, thought it was a woman, without knowing the name of the god. And I think that's part of the gentleness too, right? The fact that he can be that.
Yeah, because at least traditionally, right, it was women, right, that encompassed that love of that kind of
Yeah.
and gentleness.
That compassion.
Yeah.
That, caretaking almost for human beings.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he does seem like a caretaker. Of,
Yeah,
like,
I totally agree with that. Like I
caretaker of
see,
people. Like he grew up caring for all of his cows.
I love his simple back again. Like there's
know
a
what I mean?
Superman reference there with the farm,
Right.
but I love, like
He came up caring for animals, and I think that compassion, it spread to humanity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
of course, I think Jesus was supposed to be cowherd too, right?
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Or
A sheep.
cowherd or shepherd.
Shepherd, right? A shepherd, sorry.
Oh, shepherd.
Shepherd.
Which,
so
yeah,
sheep.
of course,
Yeah.
that's
Sorry, not cow. Sheep.
Same,
Right, but-
same though.
same principles.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought that
Yeah.
was really fascinating too.
I don't know if Jesus loved wool as much as Krishna loved butter, but same principle. So
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting too if you look at I was gonna skip to Buddhism, and one of the earliest is when Buddha gets enlightenment. He has the first. There's these kids, and they're all, I want to say they're cowherds, or they take care of sheep or cow or something like that, and that's what they do. And he's almost on the verge of death, and they give him their milk that they
right,
and
yes,
he comes to again.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
So they're the first. They the first people to hear the Enlightenment stories.
Well, let me put another layer on this. We're looking at the avatars of Vishnu, of which Krishna is one. One of them is also the Buddha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So by some beliefs and things, like Buddha is one of the avatars of Vishnu as much as Krishna is.
Wow. Wow.
So, which like Buddhism did come out of Hinduism.
Yeah, it did.
Not only did it come out of Hinduism, but I read this one great book, like it was in manga actually, but like it really cemented the fact that it came out of Hinduism because it came out of the caste system being bullshit.
Yeah.
And so that things have evolved since whatever, and so like this is not working anymore. This is not just.
Right.
What I have come across, which I've fallen so much in love with, is again, author Devda Patnaik. I've got a couple books by his. He calls Dharma. Defines Dharma. And I say he because I don't know. I haven't done enough research to know how many others. It's the taking care of the weak. That is what Dharma is.
Interesting.
And we talked about in an earlier episode how in one of Krishna's early incarnations he was a fish, and he got help from a guy to not be eaten by other fish.
Right.
And that's jungle law, where the might will kill the weak. Human civilization is about taking care of the weak. So Dharma is about taking care of the weak. So what I liked about that rendition I read where it talked about Gautama Buddha is like, he's realizing that things have fallen apart. This is not working. Much like the time of Parashuram, when the kings were vicious and they needed some kind of cleanse. But for in that sense, like we're not taking care of the weak. We're not living by that Dharma.
Right.
So whatever we call this isn't working. And so that idea then So even like the idea that this connection between Gautama and Krishna, as being even someone who is so connected to Hinduism, but also continuously like critical. Like we still have to manage, like we have these ideas and thoughts, we have these rules, but let's always keep to the spirit of it, of the Dharma,
Right.
of taking care of the weak. If we're not doing that,
Right.
rules can go out the window.
Exactly.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because that's actually where you can get the. That's actually the source of where you can get the, what do they call it? The compendium, the confluence of many religions. That arc that is exactly that Dharma, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Good to have you here, Didi. Have an imaginative day, everyone.
Hi, listeners. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you want to support the podcast and hear additional content, you can do so by becoming a member of the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/NYMM podcast. We would like to thank our current patrons, Dinosaur Sauce, Errol the Hamster, and Praveen Prem Kumar for their support. Thank you. Have an imaginative day.